Great. All right, great. It's good to see everybody today. Thank you for joining Viewpoint Christian Academy this year. We're excited about our opportunity to be able to minister to as many lives as we possibly can. Last year, we started off on kind of a different kind of adventure as far as our program goes. Things went pretty well, and things are continuing to go well. We do have a lot of students from all around the state of Massachusetts, but we're also blessed this year to have students kind of splattered all around the country as well. We have some in Texas and Alabama. We have some in Virginia. We have others that'll be joining us from other states as well. So excited about the opportunities that we have to be able to help support Christian education in whatever capacity, in whatever way we can. Want to open up with a word of prayer, share a quick thought with you, and then we're going to jump right into the checklist of things that I have. And again, as we're going down, please be sure to send a message in the chat if you think of something, or if you have a question, please jot it in there, and I will keep my eyes on it and try to address it as we go. But let's pray and ask the Lord to be with us today, and then I'll share a few things with everyone today. All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day and the opportunity we have to be together for this parent orientation. Lord, a lot of information that's going to come right at this time. And so, Lord, I ask that all the parents would be attentive and receptive, and that, Lord, they would get the information that they need in order to have a good, strong, and successful academic year. Lord, I pray in Jesus' name that you'll bless every child that is enrolled in Viewpoint Christian Academy, the ones that we have, the ones that are still coming, Lord God. I pray that you would bless them and strengthen them and give them a great and prosperous and blessed year in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen and amen. All right. So one of the things that I mentioned in my prayers, that you would bless the ones that we have and the ones that are coming. I've been getting like 3 or 4 applications a day, 3 or 4 inquiries a day. And so a lot of things have been kind of happening. It's time for school to start. And so people are finally thinking, oh, what do I need to do? So it's going to be a pretty crazy busy time. We've had many students that have actually already started their school year. Many students started back on the 16th. We had another batch of students kind of pick up this week on the 23rd. We got another batch of students picking up next week, and then even more after Labor Day. It's a busy time, and a lot of things are going on right now. But we're blessed to be able to have this. I mean, some of the things that are contributing to that, we're going to talk about in just a second. But I did want to share just a quick, maybe word of encouragement to you. My mind, probably like many of your minds, and my prayers and my thoughts for the past several days have been with the people of Afghanistan. It's a truly tragic situation in that nation. I'm not trying to be political here, and I'm not going to be political at all. All right. So don't worry about that. But what I am going to say is that the events of today, with the bombing and the tragic deaths of our military personnel, as well as many other civilians in the casualties that occurred, was a tragedy, and it saddens me. It's really a pretty sad day as far as that goes in our country. Whenever, especially, there's a loss of a soldier's life, etc. One of the things that I thought about today, and I probably heard it on the news somewhere as well at some point, is that when this occurred, I don't think it was like a big surprise to a lot of people. The way things had been going, it looked like things were very tenuous. It looked like things were not going in a good direction. And it was kind of almost obvious that something was going to go awry, because the environment was such, the conditions were such, that it kind of lent itself to that. And I'm going somewhere with this, so don't worry. I'm not auditioning for a TV channel, for a TV news position. Don't worry. What I am saying here is that sometimes things that are obvious, like we can see them coming, right? You can kind of see, oh yeah, I can see that that's about to happen. It's on its way. I can tell that's just gonna come our way. I think that so much, and let's relate this back to education now for just a minute. So much of what is going on in education that is coming out right now is very disturbing. Whether it's critical race theory, comprehensive sexuality education, or ankle bracelets on athletes who want to play sports in Washington because they have to track them in case they get around a COVID outbreak. I'm not kidding. That's an actual thing that's going on. Some of the crazy things that are going on in education, in the public education system right now, are crazy. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 22, verse 3, that a prudent man foresees the evil. In other words, he can see, oh, this is coming. And he does something about it, right? He hides himself. He takes steps. We had a hurricane that was coming. You tried to go, if you waited too long, you tried to go get your bread and milk, it was all gone off the shelves in the grocery store, right? Because everybody knows I got to have enough bread and I have enough milk just in case I lose electricity or something happens, right? So people go out and they prepare for what's coming. They can see where it's going and they take steps to avoid trouble. That's a good thing. The Bible tells us that you're prudent if you do that. But unfortunately, too many people are not. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 9 talks about people that lack certain characteristics and they're blind and they can't see afar off. They can't see what's coming down the road. I'm so glad that you as a parent can see what's going on in the world right now and in education, and you have decided and determined that you are not going to allow anyone else but yourself have the reins and the control over what your child learns, that you're going to find an education and a program and a teaching that aligns with your values and your beliefs and the scriptures. We're excited for that. We're pleased to be able to partner with you for the discipleship of your children. I was speaking with a parent today, and she said, I am determined not to allow my son to go back to public school because she knew what was going on. She could see the things that were occurring. So I'm just so glad that you are determined, and it's our privilege to be able to help empower you for Christian education, and to work alongside you for the discipleship, to partner with you for the discipleship of your children. So with that being said, let me go ahead and talk about a few things that are going to be important for you to know. And again, I'll keep this as short as I can. We won't go too long here, but I do have a checklist of things. So I'm going to run down my checklist of things as we go through the year. One of the things that is so important, and I want to encourage you, I'm going to share my screen intermittently. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. One of the things that is so important in Viewpoint's program to make sure that everything goes well is the training program. And to make sure that you understand how the system works and how to most effectively provide that which your child needs. And so I want to just remind you that if you come to our website under the academics tab, all the way at the bottom is the training programs button. You can have access to all of the training materials that we have created, all of the training videos. If you ever need a refresher, or if you haven't seen them yet, I encourage you, take a look at these videos because it's going to give you some good, strong information, solid foundation to help you build it. Now, I also encourage you, if you haven't already done so, to go to our YouTube page and subscribe, because we are constantly adding new material on that page. And a lot of this has to do with education, how to implement the program, or just various things in regards to Christian education. But check these out, review these. Every student enrolled in our Ignitia program will also be assigned the orientation class, Ignitia orientation. And I would highly encourage you, mom and dad, to go through that orientation with them if they haven't already. And if they have, ask them to set it up for you so you can go through it and look at the videos, see the same thing that they're seeing, so you know what they're supposed to do and you can help hold them accountable. One of, if not the most important things that Viewpoint offers in our program is the vision card. All right, the vision card. And it's a little blurry. I guess I shouldn't have blurred the background. But the vision card is perhaps the most important tool that we provide to parents and to students. I want to let you know that you are able to print, the students are able to print these vision cards. If they will go to their orientation class, there is a section with a link for them to be able to print extras if they need it. But we had some we found a great printing company and had hundreds of these printed up. We're sending everybody enough for the year. If you haven't already received your packet, you will shortly. Lord willing, you did. But if you didn't, let me know. We'll try to get that back out to you. But those are really important, and using those as we demonstrate here. And look, there are videos that we have created to show you how to use those vision cards. They're vital for the students to be able to complete their work. In fact, where is it? Oh, right here. Goal checks and goal cards and goal checking for Ignitia. It's a great video right there. And then also, I'm going to use the spotlight so you can really see goal checks and check reports. Also, down here, goal setting if you're using the paper curriculum, the one where I look like I'm in pain. Actually, I look like my face looks like I'm in pain in all those videos. Oh well, but I would encourage you, check those out, okay, and take advantage of those. One thing that I want to do as well, real quickly, is just kind of give you a quick overview for those of you that are doing the Ignitia program. I want to make sure that you know how to check up on your child when they're doing their work. Say, well, have you done your work? Have you done the goals that you set? Well, there's an easy way to do that. And I apologize if you're in the paper curriculum. I'll go through this quickly. I know it doesn't apply to you. But if you will tell your child to go to the Learn and Courses, you will have access to everything that your child is doing. All right. And if you click on one of the courses, this child is actually, this is my son, he's doing part paper, part online this year. So you see that he's got a couple of courses there. You can see these are all of the units that need to be completed for the year. And he can click on any unit and see what has been done. And you can actually look and see, oh, where are you? What have you finished? Now, here's the beauty of this. The system will actually automatically create due dates. It makes it really easy to set goals, right? It makes it really easy to set goals. So you can automatically see, oh, they are ahead. But right now, thankfully, he's ahead, right? Because he started and worked and got ahead. Yay, praise the Lord. Like, you know, dad wouldn't let him get behind anyways, but he's working on it there, right? So look, you can do that. Another way that is beneficial here is if you look at this, okay? You've got Bible 400, it says green, 3 ahead. Yay. Right here, language arts, on track. Yay. If it was red, behind, not so yay, but it's an opportunity for you to be aware of what's going on and help encourage your child to get things caught up. One other thing I want to point out, many of you in Ignitia will have your child may have something called a CRX course, CRX mode course. What does that mean? It's called credit recovery. It means they might have some gaps. There's some things in a lower grade that they needed to have addressed in their learning. And the beauty of the CRX is that at the beginning of the CRX mode course, and let me go to the math one here. At the beginning of the CRX mode course, there is what's called a pretest. If your child takes that pretest and gets an 80% or better, they get to skip that whole unit. But if they don't, then they get to work on only the things that they need to work on, the needs that they need to study, that they need to learn. It's a really efficient way to help expedite catching students up when they have gaps. And so if they have CRX, you may find that they'll be ahead of schedule a lot, and that's a good thing, and they need to stay ahead of schedule. Don't let them take a break and say, oh, that's not a big deal. Well, actually, it is a big deal. Good, stay ahead and get even further ahead, because CRX means that you're trying to catch up to the same grade level as you are in everything else. Now, there may be some mitigating circumstances behind that. You can always call and talk to me, but I just wanted to encourage you with that. So even if they are in even if they are ahead, especially if they're in CRX mode, keep working ahead, because having some margin or some breathing space is important. What happens if somebody gets sick and they have to miss a week of school? Well, the work still has to be done, so you got to kind of make up for it somewhere along the line. But if you've got margin, or if you're ahead in subjects, then you don't have to worry about that, because you have some breathing room. You can take the time that you need in that regards. And I hope that made sense. And again, if you have questions, throw them in the chat, and then we'll open up later on for discussion as well. It's a great time for me to remind you that we always say it should be about 3 to 5 hours per day 3 to 5 hours per day of work. That's an average. The average of 3 to 5, some days it'll be less, some days it'll be higher. High school students, it may take more than 5 days on sometimes if they're having struggle. I understand there's a lot of flux to that, but that's a good average, right? If your child is only spending an hour a day doing their schoolwork, there's probably some problems. One is they're probably not doing enough. Another problem might be, the quality of the work may be a little inferior. So there may be somebody you may want to call and talk to us, or we may end up calling and talk to you. I don't know. But those are just some things to keep in mind. So that's kind of an average. Again, when that is done, it's completely up to you. If you have to have them wait till the afternoon and evening, that's fine. If you're going to do it in the morning, that's fine. Morning is best if possible, but whatever works on your schedule. Okay. Let me come back again here, and let me share my screen, because I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about today as well, and that is the parent portal. Parent portal is going to be really, really important this year for a few reasons, and I'm going to go over them. But I want to make sure that everybody can access the parent portal. We're going to show you how to do that, but I also want you to know that there is an app for our parent portal. And so I would highly encourage you to get this. It's available on Apple as well as Android. It'll work on your tablet or your phone, but check out the app. The app is going to be a really great option for you, I think. And so I would just really encourage you to take advantage of that. Now, let me just go over this with you real quickly, as well as how to get on the portal. Usually the easiest way is probably going to be on your phone, but another easy way is to come to our website, and under connections, you just go to parent portal. All right, it brings you here. I've actually already set this up, so I'm going to log into my family's account and just kind of give you a quick demo of how some things work, and also explain to you some new things that are going on as well. When you're in the parent portal on a computer, this is what it would look like. It'll look a little different on your app, but you'll still have essentially access to most all of this on your app. So let's talk about how this is set up for a few minutes. You see that there's some announcements here. Those announcements are basically the playlists that we've created. We do a weekly devotional that will start after Labor Day this year. And we do a Monday moment every Friday. We're up to like 49 episodes, 50 episodes, something like that. We're getting there. So almost a full year of episodes. And then also the training video playlists are here. So you have access to all of that. I want to encourage you to check out our brand new student handbook, which I am announcing to you today. You can check that out here. There's a PDF of it. So I would highly recommend you check it out and look it over. I've worked really hard for a year now on getting this thing set up. And it's got a nice table of contents. It's a little long. It goes about 40 pages now. But that's because we had to make a lot of adjustments and changes and all of those kind of things. So I'd encourage you to check that out. But when you're here, there's a couple of things that I want to point out to you. This is a great place for you to, on the menu, under classes, to check out the grades, evaluations, and unofficial transcripts. This is a great resource for you. You can go in here at any time and see all of this information up to date. In fact, we just entered grades because we've already had students take tests this year in our Ignition program. And so we were entering some grades today. And so you'll see, if you open it up, you'll see the assigned units for the year, as well as what was completed, when it was entered, when it was completed, and that kind of thing. So all of that is there. And there's a few views. You've got a detailed view like this, which is great. It shows you where you are and the progress that you're making. This is also a great tool to make sure that your star chart's up to date. You may, and kind of see how that all goes. After you have, if you're doing the paper curriculum and you submit a master record sheet, or you've submitted tests and we grade them, verify them, and enter them, you can compare here against your master record sheet and see if there were any changes that might have been made in our evaluation. Excuse me. So that's a great tool. There's a roster view, which is a simplified view. Now I'm going to click this, but it's going to tell me an error because we don't have a report card for this year yet. So that won't be available to the end of the first quarter, which is in, end of October, beginning of November. But you will be able to see the report card there. So you've got all of that available to you under classes. I want you to notice this section here. It's called Library Finds. And I don't like the name, but basically what it's going to show you is we have actually generated a very detailed library for all of our score keys and teacher keys. And so we're actually scanning them out and assigning them to you. So if you failed to return something, you might see something here in that regards. And so we're just trying to be better stewards and keep better track of what we have. Also, online forms is available here. And this is where you do the re-enrollment or enroll another student. If you have one student in your family already that's been accepted, you say, I want to add another, you can enroll another student, or you can do the re-enrollment form. This web store is pretty empty right now. But we will probably maybe add some things in there, like some school spirit stuff, like a Viewpoint t-shirt or something like that. And you would be able to come in here and purchase it in that way. What it would do is it would automatically add it to your account, and you'll be able to see it there. But that's how the shopping cart would work here. Right now, we got those beanies that we have some other stuff for beanies from last year, and I just put it in there just to see how it would work. I don't think I'd charge $7, but anyways. This messages button is actually quite effective. You can actually send messages through here, and in the app, it will work on a push notification if you will allow it to. So you can send a message, and then if we respond, it'll push the message on your phone. So that might be something that you might want to take advantage of. We are in this system 8 hours a day. So, and whenever someone sends us a message, we get a notification that won't go away until we read it. It's really annoying, but it's effective. The other button here also allows you to upload documents, take advantage of resources, and check out the staff directory. All that's here. For instance, resources would include a place to find the student handbook. This is a scope and sequence for the ACE paper curriculum that we use. This is our note-taking procedure that we recommend for Ignitia. Really effective tool right there that I would recommend that you take advantage of. You can download that document there. And then some other things that are there as well. It'll grow, but right now that's kind of where it's at. Settings is going to allow you to contact them. You can change your info if you need to. You can actually come in here and save changes if you moved and you need to update your address or change your cell phone. That works. You can add family members here if you find the need to do that. Just click add new family member and link it to whatever student. Reset your password. I'm running through these things because I think this is important. I want everybody to know it. Clear the cache. The last thing I want to talk about is here under billing, because this is a big change that's taking place, and I really need to talk to you about this. So please make sure you pay attention to this. Here under billing, you have access to AR contracts, recurring payments. I want to go home, go back to the home button for just a second and show you. See this button here? This is new. It's called it's a make payment button, right? We are now set up to receive payments in the parent portal. In fact, we are going to be phasing out any other options for online payments. So we've been accepting payments online on our website. We're phasing that out, and we're just going to stick with this. And there's two reasons for that. I'm going to get to those in a moment. All right, but you can go through here, fill out this form. There are two ways to make payments: ACH, which is a direct bank withdrawal, and then credit card. But one of the reasons why we decided to do this is because we realized that we want to keep our expenses as low as we can and our costs as low as we can. We did not increase tuition. We capped our tuition this year. It stayed the same. Last year's tuition is this year's tuition. But we realized that we were losing a good chunk of money through electronic payments. The majority of people made their payments with a credit card. But we were losing about 3% of all that money in credit card processing fees. And when you're a small operation like we are, it's a big deal. So we have now established a relationship with a new credit card processing company and connected it into this so that we will now be making payments. I'm going to stop sharing for just 1 second. We'll now only be accepting electronic payments in the parent portal. Those payments will actually automatically post to your account. What would happen before is we'd get an electronic payment, we'd get an email notification, then someone would have to manually enter it and post it to the account. So I mean, it was extra work. This will automatically post, but, and this is the difference. There will be a convenience fee for all electronic payments now. ACH payments are very simple, 75 cents per transaction. That's all it costs to do an ACH. And by ACH, we mean, you just take it right out of your bank account. Credit card is going to be 3% of whatever it is. So that credit card, for instance, I'll show you, I got one that's kind of generated here. If I paid $150, it's going to add a convenience fee of $4.50. Now, obviously, if that's what I'm paying, it's a better deal for me to try and do an ACH, because then there's only a 75 cents, which is about 17 cents more than a stamp. They're going up this Sunday, by the way, to 58 cents stamps. But if I come back over here, here's the power of this as well, is that if you go here to recurring payments, you can actually set up so that you can create automatic recurring payments, make a monthly payment, weekly payment, quarterly payment, however you want to make it. You can set an amount every week, every month, whatever, or you can just say pay the balance due at this time. I recommend a set amount. So we're going to set up a scenario here, $100, and we're going to do it 40 times weekly. I'm just doing this randomly. This is a lot of money. Most people aren't going to end up with that, and then you can choose the payment date for it to process. I'm going to choose this date. And then from there, the next 40 weeks, it's going to go ahead and do that. And then I can just save the changes and it will operate in that way. But it will also automatically apply the convenience fee. So with that being said, I do want to let you know that on your transaction, you may see two payments processed. One would be the payment made to the school, whether it's $100, whatever. And then the other would be the transaction fee of 75 cents or whatever the 3% might be. Okay. The other thing I wanted to point out is, and then I'm done with that for there, and we'll go on and keep going on in just a minute. I thought I had brought a sample with me, but apparently I did not. You will be getting, if you have not already gotten it, a student handbook. The student handbooks look absolutely fantastic this year, thanks to Mr. Nelson Varghese Jr. Mr. Nelson Varghese Jr. Is someone who has been working with us in the school for about a year now. He's based out of India, but he's got a heart for Massachusetts. He wants to be a missionary in Massachusetts. And he reformatted everything and it looks fantastic. So the student handbooks that were sent out have monthly memorization passages. We didn't really push this last year because we were still trying to figure out how to make it work. But it is important for this child to memorize verses. It's important. So we put 9 passages in the student handbook that we want the child to memorize this year. Now, if you open up the student handbook, you'll see that there for September and October, we're recommending that the child memorize the books of the Old Testament in September and the books of the New Testament in October. And so that would be the monthly passage to memorize. Then when you get into the month of in the month of November, there's a passage from the Gospel of John, but there are only about 6 or 7 verses. We have cut way down. Last year, you would have noticed there was probably about 10 to 12 verses. We're only doing 6 or 7 verses this year, and you have a whole month to memorize those. So I want to highly encourage you to work a little bit every day on a verse to memorize, starting in the month of September. And we're going to need those to report. I'll send some more information out to you, but we're going to need you to verify that they did indeed quote those. We'll add them onto their records as well. And there are instructions in the student handbook as to how to do that, how to grade it. And also, if the child is younger, they have the ability to do smaller parts. So for instance, they may only have to do 2 verses at a time, depending on their grade. They may only have to do, and when you're doing the books of the Old Testament, I recommend do 5 verses at a time. If you do 5 verses at a time, you'll get it done in a couple of weeks, pretty easily. But we do need them to memorize those passages this year, and we'll be getting on. We'll be sending out reminders and messages and all that kind of thing about that. But please do participate in that memorization this year. It's not a lot, but we need to hide God's word in our heart. It's really important. Okay, I am moving along right now. Okay, there are a couple of services that I really want to let you know about. One is This year, we have some students that are participating in a sign language class. This is a service that is provided by an outside organization. It's provided by Cindy Michaud, who's a great friend of mine, my family's and of our church and school. She's been involved in Christian education for like 35 years, in working in Christian schools, homeschools. She and her husband have a tutoring service called Together for Education. And she offers a high school class, 4 credit, as well as a junior class of sign language. And it's a weekly Zoom session that she does. And she has textbooks and assignments and all kinds of things. She grades it and everything. So she completely and totally takes care of that class. It's kind of separate with her. So it's a charge for her, but we're going to recognize that work and include it on the child's school record. So if that's something that you're interested in, you would like your child to participate in an ASL, American Sign Language class. My daughter's going to participate in it. She's very much into sign language right now, so we wanted to give her the opportunity to do that. I would recommend it. So that's available. Additionally, they are fantastic tutors. You know, they do it all Zoom. Most tutors are doing Zoom now, video conferencing, but they do an excellent job. And if you're looking for a tutor, then contact me and I will point you right in the direction of them. They can help children a lot with struggles, academic struggles. So if you're like, I need him to help get past, I need a tutor for this part, they have very reasonable rates and they do a fantastic job. One other service that we are providing this year that many students, many families are actually participating in and taking advantage of is our academic coach add-on program. This is brand new. We developed it over the past spring and summer. And the idea basically is that we would be able to provide you with access to a coach for your family to help you develop a plan and implement a plan to help make your family successful in their academics. Help with scheduling, help with setting of goals, help with holding accountability. And essentially you get 1 hour a week with this coach, and the coach would meet with you a half hour at the beginning of the week and a half hour at the end of the week, or however you want it to plan it. But typically that's how we envision it. Half hour at the beginning to set the goals, half hour at the beginning to get everything set up, and then a half hour at the end to debrief, to see how the progress went and make suggestions for continued success. It's just another layer of accountability, but a lot of, but if you find yourself struggling to stay on task and stay on track and get things done, this might be a good option for you to consider. Now, if your children are doing great, if you've got a system down and your kids are getting done their work and they're able to do things well, that's fine. You don't need this. But if you need a little bit of extra support, this I think will be a huge deal breaker. Now, we only offer it we're offering it on a quarterly basis, meaning you have to do it at least 9 weeks at a time. You may find after the first quarter, you got things down, the coach helped you get all set, or you may find after the first quarter, oh, this is great, I need to continue this. That would be up to you, but we charge by the quarter. So for the 9-week segment, it would be $180. And most of that's going to go towards paying for the coach's time anyways. But I wanted to make you aware of that. If that's something you're interested in, reach out to me, contact me. Again, if your child is experiencing success, things are going well, you probably don't need this. But if you're a little worried and maybe you're just starting out, you say, I need a little help getting on my feet, I need help figuring this all out, this might be a good service for you to consider adding on to what we give in our regular programs. Okay. All right. Let's see, the training program, I already went over that. Okay, I am almost done. I have 2 things left. The last thing that I need to go over with you about is the parent agreement and consent to education form. We are going to need everybody to sign a parent agreement and consent to education form. We've done this every year. If you're a returning student, you know that this is a form that we have, or for a returning family, every year we have the same form, but it's not this form. We updated it. I'm still waiting for the lawyer to get back to me. It's technically a legal document, right? It's our agreement, So our lawyer is reviewing it, making sure it's all good to go. We have to modify it because, we learned a lot of things last year about certain, this element, that element. But that is coming. What's going to happen is I'm going to send you a link. You click on the link. It's going to take you to dochub.com, where you'll be able to electronically sign it, and then it will automatically return it back to me. But I wanted to make sure that you knew about that, and we had discussed that together. That is going to be very important. We have a list of families. We're going to make sure that we get those signed by everyone. Okay. That's the last thing I have, except for one other thing. But the last thing I want to talk about is Fantastic Fridays, which is an opportunity for students in the area of Southbridge to participate in at the school building. We're going to open up the doors on Fridays and have co-op, and we'll do extracurricular classes and those kind of things. But before we talk about that, I just want to see if there's any questions that anybody has in regards to anything that we discussed. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question. And then if you're not, if you don't want to talk about the co-op because you don't live in this area, you can just kind of jump off. Anybody with any questions, comments, concerns? All right. Good. Either I confused you all too much or you understand exactly what I was saying. I'm going to go with the latter. You understood it all and it made sense. Praise the Lord. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have as far as that goes. I'm excited to help and support you to have another successful academic year. The Lord is expanding our tent stakes, and we're finding favor in various areas. There's a lot of interest in alternative education right now, and alternative forms of education. We don't consider ourselves necessarily an alternative. We consider ourselves a Christian education program, which in my opinion is not the alternative, but the most important thing. Is there a deadline to sign up for the sign language class? That is a great question. I am pretty sure that it starts, I think it starts after Labor Day. And the lady is very flexible. And so I don't think that'll be a problem at all. She will work with you, even if it's last minute. I know she will. She has a hard time saying no. So it won't be a problem. But yeah, I think the sooner you can get on, the better. So if you need the information, I think I sent it to some people, but you can sign up for it online. But yeah, there we go. Good question. Anybody else? You can chat it or just unmute yourself and ask it. Okay. Very good. Well, then we'll go ahead and if you think of something, you can send a chat or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and transition to. Oh, is ASL for high school only? No, they actually have a younger class as well. They have a high school class and they also have a junior class. That's a good question. So she does offer both. So no, it's not for high school only. Great question. Great question. So if you're interested in that, just send me an email and I'll forward you the information so that you can fill out the form for the class. So again, it's separate. She has her own charges. She has her own textbook. She does her own everything. We're going to recognize it and add the record on to the official transcript at the end of the class. We're going to recognize, because she does an excellent job. So we're going to recognize the quality of the work and the teaching, et cetera, that's involved in that. So, all right, very good. Well, let's talk about Fantastic Fridays. Oh yes, well, we already got questions coming about that. All right, so we are going, and I'm going to address all of those. We are going to begin Fantastic Fridays the first Friday in September, which is September. No, I'm sorry, not the first Friday in September. The Friday after Labor Day, which is the 10th. Sorry. So September 10th. So right after Labor Day, we will begin on Fridays. I am checking on bus transportation. I have actually spoken with the bus company and they said, okay, we'll have to check on it and get back to you. So that is where I'm kind of in limbo at the moment. I know that they have started bus routes and everything, but they haven't gotten back to me yet. So I am going to be getting on the phone and and saying, hey, what's going on? My hope is that they will. I don't see why they wouldn't. I know it's only one day a week. I don't see why they would not. So my anticipation is that if students live in Southbridge, they would be able to take the bus. It's only for those that live in Southbridge. Others are on their own as far as transportation goes. Okay, but I am looking into that. And then another question that came up: what are the hours? What will the hours be for Fantastic Friday? My hope is that they can be pretty close to regular school hour day, like a full school day almost. That is my hope and my anticipation. But it's going to depend on two things. One is I have to have enough people to work it. So I am looking for some volunteers to be able to help out in that regard. Even if you can't do it every week, if you could say I could do it once or twice a month, or I can do this or I can do that, because we do have to have a volunteer base in order to make it work and have it. Now, what is Fantastic Fridays? I guess I should probably explain that. I'm talking to people, some people who are like, oh yeah, we've done Fantastic Fridays, and other people who have no idea what I'm talking about. So Fantastic Friday is something that we started back in 2019 when we were in person. And that was Fantastic Friday was an opportunity for us we did the 4-day school week, like we recommend you do. Now, we did 4 days of school. And then on Friday, the 5th day, we spent the majority of the day doing all of the extracurricular activities that really help fill out and make a full program. So we did PE, music, art, archery, platform, puppetry. We did, crafts, painting, you name it. We just did all that kind of stuff all throughout the year, only on Fridays. And we just made it fun, right? So we called it Fantastic Fridays. That is what my anticipation is for this as well. So it will be a time for us to get together and co-op, right? And learn together and do all those extracurricular activities. Now, that being said, there are some incidentals that would need to be covered in that. For instance, obviously art supplies and those kinds of things. We don't really have a budget for that. So we would need to have some kind of a charge that would be connected to help defray the cost of supplies. So that would be something that would need to be considered. We would probably do it on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on how that works. And if we do full day and we have the lunch option, we would probably look into the possibility of, like we have done in the past, of selling pizza or something along that line too. So there may be some cost factors involved in that. So just so you're aware of that. However, if you're a volunteer and you're going to help me out, I'm not going to make you volunteer and then make you pay. So if you're going to give your time to help out, then we want to make sure that we show appreciation to you in that regard. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. I want to have a meeting next week with anybody interested in participating in Fantastic Fridays. If that's you, I need you to send me a message by email, probably, like right now, if you could. Just get on your email and say, yeah, I'll help. Even if you can only help a little bit, that's fine. But whatever help we can get, we will need, and we would appreciate it, and we would love it. But again, that's Fridays, beginning September 10th, at the church, Viewpoint Christian Academy, and we'll be meeting there and having a blast. I will send you, I don't actually know the protocols that we would need to follow, to be honest with you. I haven't checked into that. As far as masking, etc. We're not making you get shots or anything. Don't worry about that. But I would have to check with the pastor and the church board to see where we would fall on masks. My anticipation is that right now we probably would not have to, unless the student wanted to. But again, I would have to double check on that and verify and see how that goes. So, but please, if you want to be a part of that planning meeting, text me, email me, send me a message and let me know. And somebody asks, this is a good question. Some parents are in a scenario where they might have a little one that they might, you know, they don't have childcare for. But you say, but I want to volunteer. We might be able to make that work. I'm open to that. So like, you know, if you've got a little one and you want to, send a message about that, ask that question. Yeah, I think we could probably make it work. You know, we could probably give you a job where you would, you know, a position where you wouldn't have to worry about running around and doing this, but something where you just kind of have a secluded area to help you. We can figure it out. I am open to doing that. So don't let that be a hindrance. We can figure things out and make that work. But I do need a base of volunteers in order to really let it take off and go. I know I'll do it. My wife is going to volunteer at times. My mom, Mrs. Rondo, pastor, he will as well. But there's actually a lot of students that are interested in this. I mean, a lot of students. You know, if all of the students in Southbridge and the local surrounding communities come to this, probably have about 30 students on any given Friday. And the more students you have, the more adults you need. So it's kind of a unique, it's a unique curve in that regards. But we're excited about it. It's great to, you know, I don't know how your kids are, but some people are like doing fall ball and all that kind of stuff, and that's good. I think it's time for kids to get back together and do some stuff, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to be able to provide that on a Friday. So please pray about it. Help me out if you can. Send me a message if you can help, or if you know somebody else. And there's a lot of people not in this orientation right now that I will be in touch with later as well and say, hey, look, we're going to volunteer and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that's some of what's going on. Okay, that's all I've got. So I've done pretty good. It's been about 50 minutes. I don't want to go past that hour mark. In fact, I want to get it done before the hour mark because nobody likes somebody who draws on and on. So any last questions? You can chat it or unmute yourself and ask the question. You can always email me if something wasn't clear, if you need more details, more information. But anybody? Going once, going twice, going 3 times, sold. All right, we'll bring it to a close. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thanks for partnering with us and allowing us to be a part of impacting your family with a good Christian education. So if there's anything we can do, please do not hesitate to send me an email, give me a call. We'll do what we can. All right. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
All right.